Will the market go up or down? Should you lock in or float? Find out this and more with Master of the Markets, hosted by Barry Habib of MBS Highway. Brought to you by United Wholesale Mortgage.
Is TRID slowing you down? Not if you're closing with UWM. While other lenders are struggling, we're closing most TRID loans in 15 days or less, thanks to easy-to-use tools like UClose and Ease, and direct communication from submission to close. Get United at UWM.com.
Welcome to Master of the Markets. I'm Barry Habib at MBS Highway, created exclusively for Mortgage News Network, brought to you by United Wholesale Mortgage. They've got so many great tools, including just a great marketing center that's got so many resources and different marketing pieces that you're able to utilize, guess what, for free. Makes you look like you've got a big marketing team. All right, we heard from Janet Yellen last week. We saw some crazy action in the stock and bond market. So let's break it down. What does this mean? One of the keys has been oil prices. Oil really has been driving the stock market. And as oil prices go lower, stocks move lower. As oil prices go up, stocks have moved up. And this recent downturn in oil prices has certainly put pressure on the stock market. Now, why is that important to interest rates? Because think about a seesaw, stocks and bonds on opposite side of that seesaw. And as stocks do well, bonds do poorly because money gets transferred out of bonds into stocks. Now, stocks do poorly. People sell those stocks. They get cash. And where do they park it? They park it into the bond market. That's why bonds do well. And when bonds do well, that means interest rates get better or lower. In this particular case that we were looking at last week, oil prices really dropped precipitously, hurt the stock market, and then that made interest rates reach some levels we have not seen since 2012, since September of 2012. In fact, if you take a look based on the 10-year Treasury, we hit a low of 154 intraday briefly. Remember, we talked about our target of 162, 160 on the 10-year. We hit that dead on, very briefly dipped a little bit below that, but we hit a bullseye on our target. Remember when it was at 2.3, 2.31, we came out with that very bold prediction that would go all the way down to 160. A lot of folks didn't think that that could happen, but sure enough, we nailed that exactly. And the reasons that we continue to think interest rates will be good is because of low inflation, and we're not 100% sure that the stock market sell-off is over. Now, things to watch. We talked about watching that 1812 level in the stock market. Well, last week was pretty much a bullseye hit on that 1812 level, came down to just a hair under 1811. And then prices on the stock market started to rebound. That started to put pressure on interest rates. So where do we go from here? You know, Janet Yellen talked about things like negative interest rates. What does that mean? It means, for example, if you go to the bank, you'd say, here's my money, put it on deposit, and instead of me getting interest, I would pay you, so to speak, like a rent for you to hold my money. Could that happen here? Highly unlikely in my opinion, although it's being talked about because in other places around the world, this can happen, and in Japan, in fact, it is happening. So could it happen in the United States? I think we're a ways off from there, although we do have to be careful because if you take a look at the yield on the 10-year Treasury and the yield on the 2-year Treasury, if the 2-year Treasury yield gets higher than the 10-year Treasury yield, that oftentimes signals a recession. It's been a very accurate indicator in the past. For right now, the 2-year yield is still about 1% lower than the 10-year yield, but that's about half of the differential. It was almost 2% lower just about a year ago. So it's narrowing quickly, and it's something that we want to keep a watch on. Going forward, interest rates should still be low, but we're looking at right now a period of time where stocks have been so beaten up and oversold, they could start to rally. That could put some pressure on mortgage bonds and probably see interest rates have enough room to rise an eighth, a quarter%. Watch now about 190 on the 10-year Treasury. That should be a pretty good ceiling. But until we hit that, I think that there'll be some volatility in the markets. On the low side, hitting 154 on the 10-year Treasury last week marked the lowest that we have seen since the fall of 2012. Now, if we break that level, we'll almost assuredly test the all-time low ever in history level of the 10-year Treasury at 1.38%. That was hit in July of 2012. Remember how low rates were then? We could see that. I think it'll be a bumpy road to get there, but watch that level of 190 as a ceiling on the 10-year, and we do need to get back below 160 and then 154, and we could see those all-time low levels. All right, exciting times ahead. Hope you have a great weekend. By the way, why don't you get on MBS Highway? Man, we have navigated through this just absolutely perfectly for our subscribers. Last week, we nailed the rate lock. We've gained all that pricing, all that time. Customers getting the lowest rates possible makes you look like a superstar to your realtors, to your customers, aside from all the other tools that we have to help you just be a better resource to your customers. Don't you want to be the best you could be? Sign up for free. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Today's Master the Markets was brought to you by United Wholesale Mortgage.
At UWM, our AEs receive over 500 hours of training each year to keep you current with the industry. We give you direct access to your own team of underwriters who return your calls in 3 hours or less. And we provide exclusive products and tools that give your business a competitive edge. In fact, everything we do at UWM is dedicated to championing your success, which is why more brokers choose UWM than any other lender. World-class service, exclusive products, groundbreaking tools, and you. Get united with us at uwm.com.
This is Mortgage News Network.